Good morning, everyone. It's Cynthia with your daily tarot card of the day. How are you today? Thank you so much for joining me. I'm glad to have you here. This week's deck, Forest Folklore Tarot. There's information in the description box below. Please remember, these messages are general for the collective energies of the day. So they are timeless whenever you happen to find this video and are inspired to watch. There's likely a message here for you, but take what resonates and leave the rest behind. And of course, as always, please tune into your own intuition, inner guidance, higher self, spirit guides, so that you might receive your own personal messages and insights from whatever card appears. And I'm hearing go ahead and cut, so we shall cut. Huh. You did see me shuffle, right? Oh, King of Swords. I do believe we had that energy yesterday. So, 2 days in a row. Spirit, is there any other clarity you can give us? Justice. All right. I'm hearing clarity, wisdom, straightforwardness, honesty, integrity. Those are characteristic qualities that are either going to be challenged or enhanced with whatever situations that you might be dealing with today. Usually when I see the Justice card, it speaks more to me of, say, universal law, karmic situations, balancing the scales in that sense. However, coming up to clarify the King of Swords, I'm picking up something more related to contracts, and they could be like karmic contracts or soul contracts, or something of a deeper or more metaphysical nature as such. However, and I just heard the words like fated, not destiny, but rather like default. But they did show me like physically signing documents. So I don't know if there is a legal or a business matter at hand that actually has to do with some kind of a physical contract or situation. Clarity in entering into all agreements and in asking others to enter into agreement with us. This is where some of the clarity, honesty, integrity, and the organization, reading fine print, paying attention to details, asking questions, answering questions, that kind of a thing, seems to come into play. So there's plenty of people that could be viewing this video. This is supposed to be general for the collective, so there could be situations where, I mean, I don't know, you could be decluttering a drawer and find paperwork that you have to go through. Some of it you might need to keep. Don't just grab the whole pile and toss it. There could be something important in there that was forgotten about or got shuffled in. So it could be something simple like that. Or it could be, again, on a soul level, on a spiritual level, more of the unseen realms. It could have something to do with a certain amount of karma, fate. Take a look at astrological transits that could be going across your chart, your natal chart, if you are so inclined. And that could be having an influence. 7th and 8th house usually have a lot to do with partnerships, deals, contracts, legal matters, things of that nature. 7th house people always talk about, a marriage and romance and stuff like that. But even an emotional contract has a soul contract. An emotional agreement has that quality to it in a very practical sense, right? So even though the 7th house might be partnerships or marriages, which is generally a legally binding agreement, and one-on-one relationships, the 8th house is usually the, legal stuff, business stuff, things of that nature. At the same house, at the same time, if there are planets transiting either of those houses, it could be having some kind of an influence like this. It could also be, for a wild example, I don't know that this is necessarily anybody's story, but just to get you thinking about situations in your own life, King of Swords came up for us yesterday. So if we were in the energy of writing or negotiating or discussing some kind of an agreement or contract or something, or if you were on a job interview or submitting a resume, today could be the day where the agreement, the pact is then made, even if you're not signing the actual form or something like that right away. Or if you were shopping for a car, for whatever reason, that's popped into my head a couple of times. You could have looked into the financing yesterday, looked into the details of payments, what you could afford, options, and today might be the day that you actually decide, which of the vehicles that you liked that you're actually going to go for. You got the down payment money or the trade-in or this, that, the other thing or whatever, and today's the day where you're actually gonna sign the documents and drive off with a at least new to you vehicle, for example. So those are just examples. Job interviews, car loans, but again, this could be a relationship thing. There could be something about a marriage or a divorce going on. There could be something about settling an estate or, dealing with individuals. On a soul level, whatever challenges and communications and trying to detangle things that perhaps maybe we've done in the recent past, or like I said, since we got King of Swords yesterday, it could have been yesterday. Today might be bringing up the fact that we seriously need to reflect on what's the lesson that's being taught to me, how do I approach this with integrity, which means I might not be perfect, but I'm also not going to shy away from taking personal responsibility for, my actions. Like no excuses kind of a thing. Even if there's a certain facet of your personality or your character or your behavior or your habits, whether it be learned, acquired, or, inborn. I've always been that way, right? And that doesn't mean that it's an excuse. It means that it's another facet of who you are. So there's a certain self-acceptance in having integrity. It's being able to, you know, take responsibility for the things that we agree to, for the mistakes that we've made and course corrections that, you know, we put into place, or even the achievements and accomplishments that now there's a responsibility on us to continue forward. Like it doesn't stop there, you know, it's not a one and done kind of thing. So on a soul level or consciousness development level, it could be calling up certain agreements, boundaries, connections that you might have with others, or with a particular pattern of situations that you've been recently, and with today's energy, called to look more closely at. Not to try and figure out, you know, whatever the other side of this connection is, but rather to say, okay, what has this brought to me? Am I done? Am I not done? Did I learn this lesson? Is it time to move on? Contract fulfilled? Agreement done? You know what I mean? There could be some kind of a releasing or clearing things out, or looking more closely at something in order to change and alter it, but being in a very honest place about who you were, which is different than who you are, which is potentially, as you're evolving, different from who you will be. And looking at how these relationships, agreements, responsibilities, contracts, obligations, perspectives, how it relates to who you are and where you're going, who you're evolving into, your authentic self. So this need to kind of stand in your own power, honestly, and with integrity, it can show up in many different ways today. Anything from very simple, practical, and straightforward kind of relationships and agreements, to something more spiritual and self-reflective in nature, in terms of being able to review things and let go of those things that are no longer necessary. You'd be surprised at how many karmic patterns that we repeat, lock ourselves into, long after they've expired and been fulfilled, because we attach ourselves to thinking that something's not going to change. And when we can shift our emotions and our mindset and gain more self-knowledge and allow ourselves to evolve past something, it's not that it'll never show up again, like a karmic relationship pattern or something like that. Well, yeah, there could be temptations out there that come towards us. But if we make certain realizations about ourselves and who we are and where we're going, and we release the past, and we allow that to sort of inform the step-by-step journey that's brought us to where we are, we're allowed to move forward without it. Sometimes, they're showing me a vision of a traveler putting down a backpack and going through it because like it's gotten too heavy, and taking out the things that are no longer necessary and kind of like burying them in the dirt on the side of the road. So yeah, sometimes we carry around things way longer than we have to, And again, it's not that it'll never show up again. It could come in front of us on our path. It could tempt us back into, the same old comfort zone, especially if things get triggered or challenging. But when we actually own the past and learn from the past, then we're free to choose not to do that again, or we're free to approach it differently or handle it differently. And we give ourselves that opportunity and that strength, because we know. When we know how that situation ends, we don't really have to explore it. And even if it could be different, then we still don't have to explore it, because if we're clear on what it is that we're looking for and that's not it, then we're starting from a different starting point. We don't have to enter into that agreement at that starting point again. That means that there's a better agreement out there that could present itself. So with that, I wish you all a lot of peace and blessings, ease, go with the flow, and self-empowerment to stand to stand in your own authenticity and honesty and integrity and clarity, and to be able to move forward. Let yourself release the old and move forward with the new. Be clear about who you are and what you want. Read the fine print. Make sure that your questions are answered. And if you're in a position where you're, trying to onboard someone else for something, make sure, again, you're still in your honesty and integrity, and that it's the intention of connecting with the person, not getting the result necessarily. And so making sure that you're answering their questions and that you're being transparent and authentic. So yeah, lots of peace and blessings. I wish you all a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here, and we will talk tomorrow.